decided yet whether this is going to be whispering or soft-spoken, but I guess I'm kind of soft-speaking right now. It'll probably be a mix of both. There's lots of clocks in this room, so I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background. But yes, it's been such a long time, and as I always am, I am so sorry. But life, that's all it is, just life. And I know you guys understand that because you're awesome, and I know you are sick of me apologizing, so I'll stop it there. But I do want to let you know that I've never forgotten about you guys, and I won't. Even if it takes forever, I will be posting eternally, or at least, as long as I can manage. But, I haven't forgotten about the subscriber's choice. And basically, because I've been away for so long, I'm going to do all three. So I'm going to do a ramble. I'm going to do three because they were the three that were most voted. A ramble, a guided visualization, and a reading. So this one's the ramble. And the house is mostly empty, but husband is still asleep upstairs, so you might hear him wandering around if he wakes up. But anyway, yeah, this one's gonna be the ramble, and I'll tell you about what I've been up to for the past however many months. So I guess, first things first, as far as I know, I did pass psychometrics, so anyone who participated in that survey, your help was not in vain, so thank you guys for that. Let's see, it's hard to come up with things when it's been such a long time. It's like so many things have happened, I'm sure of that, but I can't think of specifics. I guess I can give you the story of my dissertation, or the saga of my dissertation. For the record, dissertation is basically a master's thesis. But I think the distinction between the two is in terms of length, if I'm not mistaken. A dissertation is shorter because it's combined, or it's used in courses with a taught element. So basically, if you're doing just research during your master's degree and you don't have any courses, then you write a thesis. But then if you have classes and research, then you have a dissertation. But correct me if I'm wrong, the UK system is different from the Canadian, which is what I'm of course familiar with. So I'm not 100% sure on that. UK people, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But basically, I was collecting data for my dissertation, and I'm doing I guess I should tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. It's kind of weird stuff to explain. It's really technical, but I'll try to give a basic account. Essentially, I worked in psychometrics when I was in my undergraduate degree, or at least that's what my honors thesis was about. So I have a background in personality assessment and measurement, and a lot of studies at Cambridge, which is where I am now. A lot of studies here in my lab are working on things like big data and machine learning predictions and data mining, just in general. So we're trying to basically perfect machine learning techniques so that they require less information to make accurate predictions. So my dissertation was creating a paper pencil questionnaire that mimics data mining, in this case in the context of Facebook likes, so that we can use the questionnaire to get the same answers from people who may not have a digital record of their behavior. And I realized that was really technical, even though I tried for it not to be. So hopefully you're just enjoying the sound of my voice and don't need to understand too much. But basically, it's just a lot of stats. It's a lot of statistics. But anyway, I was collecting data for that. And I think it was in March. My study took place in 2 waves. So I was done the first wave. And then I had to collect the second wave. But the problem was one of our servers crashed in the lab, so I lost all my data and I had to restart all my data collection. So I ended up having to do 3 data collections instead of 2, which is, as you can imagine, quite annoying and expensive because you have to pay participants. Otherwise they won't do jack all. So I was basically a month behind where I wanted to be in terms of my dissertation. And then when I was doing my second data collection, one of the websites we use shut down. So we had to wait for that to come back up. So that set me back another week or so. And it was just completely mental trying to get the data. And then, as you can imagine, it's pretty high-level stats. So I was having a lot of difficulty understanding the statistical script I was working with. Because when you work in stats, and this is so boring, so I hope I'm boring you to sleep. When you work in statistics, most of it is computerized because the math is quite long to do by hand. I think in general nowadays math is mostly computerized. But yeah, you have to write programming scripts in order to get the computer to do the math you want it to do. And for anyone who's in research and knows kind of what I'm talking about, I'm working in R. So yeah, I was having a really hard time understanding my R scripts because my supervisor had helped a lot with them, and a lot of it had to do with the servers and stuff like that, and more like technical things. It wasn't really about, it wasn't so much the math, it was more about the data. So I was having a really hard time seeing the math, which I understand extremely well, behind the programming, which I'm just starting to learn. So my supervisor was away for a lot of time, and it was hard to do the statistics I needed to do while he was away. So that made me a lot slower as well than some other people who are doing more, I guess, standard analyses of their data. And they didn't really need as much guidance from their supervisor as I did. So basically, all that made me almost 2 months behind where I wanted to be on my dissertation. And my dissertation is like 60% of my mark, I think. So obviously I can't slack on it. So I've been working like a fiend on that. I hand it in next week, the final copy, and it's in my supervisor's hands for revision right now. So that's why I'm able to do this video and not be fiendishly typing on my computer like I usually am. So when he gets that back to me, I'll have to do final revisions and then submit, and then I'll be done my master's degree, which is really exciting. I'm so tired of being constantly working and just constantly connected, if that makes sense. Cambridge is a relatively small place. I mean, my hometown in Canada was the same size, but I don't know, something about Cambridge makes it feel smaller. I guess it might be the physical size. I mean, in Canada, everything is a lot more sprawling because we just have so much more space than in the UK. So instead of building up, we can build out. But here, I feel like I'm constantly in a labyrinth. It's like everyone has hedges and everything has walls, and the streets are really narrow. And I mean, you see photos of Cambridge and Oxford, and I haven't been to Oxford yet. I'll probably go visit at some point, but you see these pictures of Cambridge and you see these beautiful old colleges, and they have these gorgeous gardens and beautiful brick buildings or stone buildings. But when you're actually in the city, that's all closed off by walls. You can't actually see anything. That's, I guess, King's College being the one exception. You can see the chapel. But other than that, it's all very closed off. So unless you're part of the college or you're doing some kind of specific tour, you don't get to see any of that beauty when you're in the city. Instead, I feel like a rat trapped in a maze. It's just endless walls and claustrophobic streets, and you know, when you're cycling or biking around, it's like you're just dodging people and cars, and there's no order. It's not a place that I enjoy. I'm really happy to be getting out of here as soon as possible. We're hoping to move in beginning of July, so that should be good. What else? Yeah, I guess I don't really feel fair giving Cambridge that bad of a rep. I've loved being here in the sense that I love the people that I've met. I've met some incredible people and made some really great friends, really close friends that I know I'm going to keep for a really long time. And I mean, because of the name associated with the university, a lot of extremely bright people and the leaders of tomorrow and all that stuff are here, and I've met a good chunk of them, and that's really cool, and they're great people, and I look forward to seeing what they'll do in the future. But I'm not convinced that Cambridge is more than that. I don't think I got a better education here than I would have anywhere else. I think the people that I've met and my lab mates and my supervisor in particular, like, these people have given me an education, but the university itself, it just feels like a bunch of old rocks. I don't know. I guess everyone feels that way about their university or about their place of learning, that it's the people, not the place. But I don't know. It's also hard. I've never lived in a truly university town. Like, I went to university in my hometown to stay with my then fiance, now husband. I didn't leave, but my town was more than just a university. Like, there were actually 2 universities for starters, and it was a transportation hub, and there was industry, and there was all these other things. It wasn't just the university, whereas here I feel like the university just suffocates the rest of the city. Like, everything is catered to the university, and I can't imagine living here and not being part of that community, which is, I feel terrible for my husband, who's basically suffered through a year of this, not being part of that community and working in a pub and just seeing kind of the underbelly of the city. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess if anyone's looking at going to a place like Oxbridge, I think it's definitely worth it. I wouldn't want to do my PhD here. I think 3 years is too much, but a 1-year master's program, you get to experience it without breaking in the process. Unless you're unlucky like me and all your data gets deleted repeatedly. But yeah, that's my little nugget of wisdom. I don't regret it. I'm glad I've done it, but I don't think I'd do it again if I can help it. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? Oh, I went to London Comic Con recently, and that was really cool. That was so much fun. I really grew up, and I'm sure I've talked about this before in other videos. I really grew up on geek culture, gaming culture. I used to play all kinds of games. I still do. If anyone plays Darkest Dungeon, I've beaten that game. I have all my characters up to highest level, and like most of them only have 2 quirks. I think I must have broken it or something, because usually that game is insanely hard. I've seen streamers do it and like consistently die. But anyway, I guess I'm good at breaking that kind of programming in addition to statistical programming. I still play a little bit, but I haven't been playing as much as I would have when I was a kid. And I'd always heard about things like, the big ones, San Diego Comic-Con and anime conventions and gaming conventions and stuff. And because of where I lived in the east coast of Canada at the time, now there's getting to be more, but at the time there was almost nothing when I was much younger. So I'd always hear about these things and the celebrities that were going to be there, and I'd want to go, but it was really expensive and really far away, so I never could. But a couple weeks ago I heard that there was going to be a London Comic Con, and the prices were actually much more reasonable than I expected. I think it was only like £22 to get a day pass, like a premium day pass. So it was really, really cheap, and Cambridge is quite close to London, so we just caught a bus over. And there's so many fun costumes, and I got to meet the 7th Doctor / Radagast the Brown, Sylvester McCoy. I got a picture with him, and I got his autograph for my brother-in-law. And most exciting for me, I think I got to meet Felicia Day, who is a sweetheart. It's, I guess, exactly what you'd imagine her to be from her videos and Twitch streams and all that. That's exactly what she's like in real life, or at least it seemed that way. So that was really cool. I got a bunch of pictures of cosplayers and stuff. But unfortunately I can't find my camera, so I'm still searching for that. And as soon as I get them, I guess I'll have to post pictures or something. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a really good day out. It was my brief break from all the horrors of dissertation writing and data collection / deletion. So that was a really, really fun day. And I hadn't really been to London. I had gone once very briefly, and I wasn't super impressed with London. I think it's better than Paris, or at least I had a better experience in London than I did in Paris. But it was, it just seemed like any other big city to me. Maybe my standards are too high. Maybe I'm too critical, which wouldn't surprise me. But if you really, really love London and have suggestions of how I can, remake my impression or fix my first impression, then you can comment below and let me know what I absolutely need to do next time I go. Lately, what's been between the dissertation, or since my dissertation's been in revision, it's been kind of out of my hands, and my main project is unfortunately something stressful. I don't want to stress you guys out too much, so I'll just talk about it briefly, but I know a lot of you do genuinely care what I'm up to and how I'm doing, and I always get comments saying, oh, I miss you, how are you doing, which is very sweet and very appreciated. So for you guys, you can, I guess, tune in, and for those of you who just want to listen to my voice, now's a really good time to space out if you don't want to get stressed out for my sake. But basically I've been accepted to do my PhD in Scotland, so that part's not the stressful part, that's the fun part, that's awesome, and we're hoping to move there in July. The problem is I did not get accepted for funding, which is extremely stressful. I don't come from a wealthy background by any stretch. I got to Cambridge on donations and house remortgaging and life savings. So we have no money left. And getting rejected for funding is a huge blow. I don't know how we're going to afford for me to do my PhD, which is something that I've always wanted to do. And if I can't start this year, then I have to start paying back my student loans, and I can't really afford to pay back my student loans and do a PhD if I wait a year, and I have no particular job prospects. So it's kind of an extremely stressful time, and actually what inspired me to make this video, apart from just wanting to make it, is just I'm feeling so stressed and panicky, and my heart's racing, and I'm not sleeping, desperately trying to find a way to keep my husband and I from poverty, basically. And so I was really stressed out, and I thought that making some videos, or at least making a video, might chill me out. So I've been applying for jobs. I've been searching desperately for funding. I started a crowdfunding page, and you can check that out. The description's in the bottom. I want to research online trolling. I'm a social psychologist, or I specialize in social psychology, personality assessment, big data, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I want to, I guess the story of that is, I might as well tell the story since you guys like long rambles. The story of my PhD is basically when I first got to Cambridge, I knew that I would have to get applying for a PhD as soon as possible, because you have to start applying in advance. So you apply the year before, and unfortunately with a 1-year program, that means you have to apply while you're starting. So you have to apply for a PhD while you're starting your master's. So I went around Cambridge and asking different professors, like, oh, are there any openings in your lab? Would you be looking for PhD students? And I got the same response from everyone. Oh, find what you're passionate about. Do what you're passionate about. And so I got fed up. I was like, okay, fine. I won't look for funding, or I won't look for funded positions. I'll do what I'm passionate about. Which, of course, led me to where I am today with no funding. But I thought of the thing that made me most angry and frustrated, and it was people who seek others' misery online through the guise of anonymity. So I've got a research plan all developed, and again, if you go to the funding page, you can check that out. There's links to all the different stuff about my research so far, which of course is in the planning stage because I haven't started my PhD yet. But yeah, that's mostly what I've been working on, is trying to find some form of financial stability for my husband and I, which has been really taking a toll on my sleep and my health. So enough of that, because that's the stressful portion. Back to the good stuff. I was accepted for not funding, but a short-term position teaching English this summer in China. So this July I will not be posting anything. because unless you want to use a VPN or something, you can't get YouTube in China. But it doesn't pay me, but it's fully funded. So I don't know how to... It's kind of like a scholarship, I guess, but you don't get money out of it, you get teaching experience. So I'm doing that this July for a month, which I'm excited about. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I've always wanted to get back to Asia. It's been 5 years since I've done Cambodia and Malaysia, so I'd love to go back, and this is a really exciting way to do that. At least I'm hoping. I may have to cancel it if I really need to find work to afford the PhD. We'll see what happens. But again, sorry, I'm bringing in the stressful part again. It's supposed to be the fun part. So worst case scenario, I am still posting because I'll be in the UK or in Canada. And best case scenario, which I guess is kind of worst case scenario for you, I will be gone for July and back in August. Which is you're no stranger to extended absences if you're a long-time subscriber, so or even if you're a new subscriber. So I'm not worried about you guys thinking I abandoned you. You know I'm always here, somewhere, watching in the distance, super creepily. So let's see, I want to make this as long a ramble as I possibly can, because I know that you guys really like to have extended rambles, so it looks like I'm at 26 minutes. I'll see if I can make it to between a half hour and 40 minutes. And maybe an hour if you're super lucky, but we'll see. I don't think I have that much more to talk about. I've started planning, in an attempt to ward off the stress, started planning this year's Christmas series. Which shows you how dedicated I am to that particular part of my channel. I love doing the Christmas series every year. It's so exciting for me. I always get so pumped to do it. And especially where I'm away from home for Christmas and I can't really afford to go back. It's a nice way to feel like I'm at home. Christmas in the UK is, I guess, maybe it's just Cambridge. I really shouldn't say the whole UK, just in Cambridge, is really quite different from what I'm used to. For one thing, because Christmas for me is a lot about family. I mean, the whole thing is going to my parents, or my mum's parents, so my grandparents, for Christmas lunch, and then going to my husband's family for Christmas supper, and going to our church services on Christmas Eve and all this stuff. But without the family here, obviously that changes the majority of it. But it's also, I mean, there was no snow, and in Canada that's quite unusual to not have snow. Or at least on the east coast of Canada, we almost always have snow, at least around Christmas, if not on Christmas Day. So that was unusual. Instead we had rain. And people don't put up decorations here like they do back home. The decorations, from what I can tell, it's very internal. So like you'll go into a house and you'll see a Christmas tree, or you'll see one through the window or something. But there's no big Christmas light displays like there are back home. And it's not as big a deal, I guess, as it is. And back home, part of me almost misses the consumerism of it all. Just because it gets you excited. And here, I don't know, it just didn't seem that way. So I really appreciate that you guys look forward to that tradition as much as I do, and that I can, that we can have our Christmas together. And even if I can't have my own personal idealized version of Christmas. So I guess I should stop talking about Christmas since it's not even June yet. But that's what I've been doing to keep the sad thoughts away, I guess, and all the stress is just thinking about my Christmas series. I might even record some stories later today if I'm not too busy, because I'm in this weird limbo period where I'm about to finish my master's, but I can't do anything else until my paper comes back from revision. So that's that. There, I made it to 30 minutes. So now I can just breathe. I wanted to make it to 30 for you guys because you deserve that. You've been waiting for so long and you're such loyal and awesome subscribers. I mean, part of my passion for trolling research is I see these other ASM artists and whisperers and all that, and I see them just get these horrible comments, and you feel so powerless. You feel like you can't help them, because if you respond, then you're feeding the troll. But if you don't respond, then you feel like you're betraying your own integrity and you're not sticking up for someone who's vulnerable. Or even if they aren't vulnerable, that you're not sticking up for someone you care about or that you appreciate. So you're just in this helpless place. And now that I'm, I guess, armed with my research experience and the capacity to design research to help combat that, and I actually can do something, I'm working really, really hard to make that happen, because I want to make the internet and the online world of gaming and YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff just not as scary a place, not as dangerous a place, or at least a happier place. So I'll probably still be working on that for a good long time and posting, well, not more sporadically. It doesn't get much more sporadic than like 3 videos between like 8-12 months. But if you do want to help me out with that, any kind of sharing of the link, or if you feel compelled to donate to the campaign, that would be amazing. But any, like, just sharing, liking, all that stuff is super helpful, just getting the word out. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I'm feeling a lot better talking to you about all my challenges and what's been going on. It's hard to feel alone when you're applying for funding, especially. You feel very alone in the process. No one can write the papers, and no one can sign the forms and do the research except for you, and that can get really tiring, and it's really hard sometimes. So thanks for listening. And I'm writing up the guided visualization. That's probably the next video for the subscriber's choice that I'm gonna release. And yeah, hopefully I will see you soon. I'm guessing it won't be till after June 5th though, because that's when I handed my dissertation. So hopefully see you soon. Hopefully I can have good news when I come back in my next video. And thanks for listening to your old pal Elelwyn. Alright, farewell guys.